Real Country 1430 AM and 1073 FM WRDN. This is the WRDN Morning Farm Report. I'm Brian Winnekins. Joining us this morning is Karen Endress, as she is the Farmer Wellness Program Coordinator at the Farm Service Center with the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture. And this month is Mental Health Awareness Month. We're going to talk about some of the things that the center does to help farmers. And thank you to our newsmaker sponsors, including Alcivia Co-op, Compeer Financial, Osteoplastics, Anibis Silo, Animal Wellness Center of Buffalo Valley, and Synergy Co-op. And Karen, thank you for joining us this morning. Well, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And, you know, for farmers, this has always been a difficult topic, but it seems like the last few years, we've finally kind of been able to break through that wall and be able to talk about this. And that's very important, isn't it?
It is really important. Mental health has always carried a big stigma, right? That for some reason, we're perfectly okay to talk about our broken leg or something else going on with our physical health. But when it comes to our mental health, it seems to be we just don't want to talk about it or don't want people to know that there is something that's just not feeling good. That's from, I like to say, from the neck up.
And you know, I'll go to the doctor for that broken leg or the heart attack or whatever, but then I don't want to go to the doctor for the neck up for some reason. And it's that stigma, isn't it?
It is like people feel like that's much worse than if you have something physically wrong. When I look at it as, why wouldn't I want to take care of my most important asset, which is my brain? It makes my body run. It helps me make decisions. It helps me in my relationships. So it's so important. And you know what? We don't have to be perfect at it, right? We go to school to learn a lot of things, and we have business consultants and we have doctors and all those different things. So what's wrong with having a therapist?
Talking with Karen Endress, she's the Farmer Wellness Program Coordinator with the Farm Service Center with the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So Karen, last few years have been pretty stressful for farmers, to say the least. And this year seems to be no exception with the crazy weather we've been having. But tell us about some of the things that the Farm Service Center and your program does to help farmers out.
Right. As you mentioned, farm stress, all-time high. Why is that? Let's just take a quick look at, we have to look at our farms. They are growing, they are big businesses, and they do such an important job, right? They take care of our most important natural resources that we have in our state and our country, and we feed people. So what more important calling do we have? But we also work really long hours. We operate our businesses with a lot of unknowns, including weather, markets, all those sorts of things that are out of our control. And when those things start to get a little off, maybe it's one or two, and those, I like to say, those gears stop working. You can fix one, right? Farmers are good at fixing things, but when multiple gears go off, like a pandemic, supply chain issues, supplies, we can't get parts for our equipment, all of a sudden it's too much to fix. So what can you do about it? Well, I'm fortunate to help coordinate programs at the Wisconsin Farm Center that can help farmers and their families. One of the things we have, let's say it's 2 a.m., you can't sleep, you don't know what to do next. We have a 24/7 farmer helpline. You can call that. An experienced stress counselor is going to pick up the phone 24/7, 7 days a week, including holidays, and just be there to be that listening ear. Because sometimes if we just talk it out a little bit, it feels a lot better. So that's one thing that we can do.
Sometimes, and that's the biggest thing, just someone to talk to that isn't going to be, it's just going to listen. That's all they're going to do.
Right. They're going to listen. And it can be, sometimes we feel as though we're burdening our family or our loved ones, or maybe there's conflict there. Just things are not going well, or we don't know how to express ourselves. So that can be one of the services that's really helpful. Then we have other services that are more ongoing. Farmers can access a telecounselor. So what is that? I think we're all getting a little more comfortable with telehealth, right? We've all now probably had a doctor's visit on the phone or on a Zoom call. And so telecounseling is the same thing. It can happen with a phone call. It can happen over a Zoom, whatever you're comfortable or what capabilities. And you can be connected with a professional that knows farmers. And so this is a licensed therapist that knows farmers, knows rural Wisconsin, and really can connect and give some guidance. And like you mentioned, kind of that unbiased listening ear and give you some professional direction on how to handle what's going on.
We're talking with Karen Endress, Farmer Wellness Program Coordinator with Farm Service Center at the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture. Karen, with some of the other services, will you also be able to help farmers say, okay, in your area, we have set up, there's counselors in your area that are geared towards agriculture, and kind of direct them that way too?
Absolutely. And better than only directing them that way, we're going to pay for it. So what gets better than that? So all the services I've mentioned are free and they're confidential. And so we have our voucher program. This is a program that's been ongoing for years. It was grant funded. Now through Governor Evers' budget, we have state funding. So I can connect a farmer with over about 250 providers we have in the state of Wisconsin that are in 67 of our 72 counties. So we have a pretty wide spread and pretty good coverage with someone who has reached out, want to be in the program because they care about farmers and they care about farmers' mental health. And so that program too is a great connector to get that in-person counseling. So again, we have that in the moment, that 24/7 line, the Tele Counseling, and then we have the in-person counseling. And on top of that, we also run bi-monthly. So actually 2 times a month, we have online farmer support groups where you can connect with, we have a therapist, we have a peer leader, and we have farmers from different parts of the state that just get together and talk about things going on with themselves, with their farms. It's just a great place to build a community and share. So it's just been a really good program that not every option is perfect for everyone, but I think we can offer a service that can help most farmers or family members out there.
We're talking with Karen Endress. She is Farmer Wellness Program Coordinator with the Farm Service Center of the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture. May is Awareness Month, talking about some of the programs the Farm Service Center farmers can offer you. Karen, what about like family members as well? Can they take advantage of some of these things? Because sometimes spouses and children, they see this going on, or they know this is going on, all of the stress on the farm with all the different things, and suddenly they're not feeling well.
Yes, absolutely. So our state legislator and our governors have made this program available for farmers and their families, which that is awesome. I will tell you that we do have teens that utilize this service and other family members. They can do couples counseling. What if the farm has put so much stress that it's really impacted your marriage or your relationship? They can do couples counseling. We've done family therapy sessions. So that can be an option. Or like I said, there is options and there are counselors that specialize working with our farm youth and farm teens, because you were absolutely right. Sometimes we think they're not aware of the heavy burdens that we carry, and they're more aware than what we know, and they carry that burden. And it starts off with some anxieties. And a lot of times, like I said, we're really good at handling it to a point. And then a lot of times we let those anxieties turn into depression, and it becomes harder and harder just to do the things we need to do. And then that can start really impacting how we're running our businesses and managing our relationships.
Karen, what about those that work with farmers? We did a farm town hall a few years ago on mental health, and we had a lot of farmers, and it was just to kind of talk, let farmers tell their story. But I had people that were there that were part of the agriculture community, heck, even myself included. I work with farmers. I mean, in 2020, I was going through a lot of stress every day saying milk's down limit, knowing what's happened, what this is going to do to the farmer listeners, many of them who are my friends. And there were a couple of times after doing a market report, it's just like I break down. And I mean, I even had a couple of listeners that had stopped in saying, Brian, are you okay? You just don't sound right. So, what about those folks? Because I can only imagine, it's one thing to be the radio announcer, but here you are like a banker or the feed guy or what, and it's like you want to help, but you can't. And that farmer, you can just see them and that family, it seems like it sucks the life out of them when you say I can't help, for financial situations or whatever. So is there something for those folks?
You make a really good point, because it can be, because we have so much compassion, right? And we're such a big part of the industry. And how could you not feel down? I mean, when you hear those stories, or like you said, when you're giving that market report and you know how that's going to impact all those farmers out there, that can be heavy. And that can be really heavy on our hearts. So although we don't have programs for others in the industry, what we do is talk a lot about, and we network with a lot of people in the state. And we know that there's a gap in care there. So we're working with other groups like the University of Wisconsin Extension. We have a group, it's actually called the Summit, where we are starting to pull together people from all parts of the industry. We have our loan officers there. We have different cooperative members there, because they understand, and they may have experienced, unfortunately, a farmer that they worked with that may have died by suicide, or these are heavy topics, and that can be really hard on us. So one thing we talk about is we're getting together and we're looking where those gaps are. So I'm really happy you pointed that out, because we're working on how to fill that gap. But we also are trying to educate on self-care. We need to take care of ourselves, those that provide services to farmers and may have to deliver these uncomfortable conversations, because we need to take care of ourselves. And you can do that by doing things you like, things that bring you joy. So whatever those things, take a minute. When you take a walk outside, nature is one of the biggest healers that we have. And so taking care of ourselves, connecting with community. I bet you experience this, and I'm really glad to hear you talk about pulling farmers together. But the pandemic shattered our communities. It shattered our family communities. It shattered our business communities. It took that all away from us. And that's where we would go for self-care, right? The coffee shop. How many farmers would go meet at the coffee shop on a rainy day and share about fuel prices, or, hey, I have something going on in my field. Anybody else have that? Or all those sorts of things that pandemic stripped from us and our connection. And we have to start working to rebuild community, rebuilding those connections with even our own families. How many didn't have family events, right? That's so big to us to bring joy to our life. So we do need to continue to work to support people. We need to encourage people to do self-care, pick up the phone, call someone, and we need to let people in our service industry, our ag service providers, know that there are resources for farmers and their families. So if you see a farmer struggling, don't be scared to ask, what do you need? You might not know you need the farm center services or the farmer wellness programs, but I'm just going to leave you a card right here, and please call if you need it. So I think that's just really, really important that we offer those services out there, that we take care of ourselves, and that we continue to work together to find solutions for all of us.
And Karen, for farmers wanting more information on the wellness program, how can they find out more and access that information?
So our website is a really, really good place to start. I tell people the easiest way is to Google the Wisconsin Farm Center, because it's right there. All the information that you need is under the Wisconsin Farm Center. I Google it all the time and it's the first thing to pop up. So I know it's a super easy find. You don't have to be anywhere, right? You're listening to the radio, hopefully out in the fields right now. So you don't have to write that down. Just Google the Wisconsin Farm Center, and that will help you connect to all these resources. It's really easy, laid out. And then you can just give me a call our 800 numbers. They're out there too. So really, really easy for people to find us. And that's what we like, is just give us a call. And if you want that 800 number, it's 1-800-942-2474. That connects you to our Wisconsin Farm Center. And we return those calls very quickly if you don't get someone on the line.
So again, you can call that 800 number, or again, the easiest way to do is just just Google Wisconsin Farm Center. It'll come right up and you can go right through the website. Well, Karen, again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. And I just want to have one big call out to people. Don't be scared to ask someone, how are you doing? How are you really doing? Because I think that's the important thing. And if you want to get trained on talking to your neighbors or talking about mental health, be watching, because there are a lot of free trainings coming out of the University of Wisconsin Extension and others. And so it's great to get trained so you feel more comfortable opening up that conversation and maybe even saving a life.
That's QPR. We have done that here in Pepin County as well. So, yep, a very, very, very good program to say the least. That again is Karen Endress. She is the Farmer Wellness Program Coordinator with the Wisconsin Farm Service Center. You're listening to the WRDN Morning Farm Report.